how the Golden State Warriors will win the 2024 NBA Championship. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors have made some drastic changes this offseason, and they are coming into next season with a brand new team. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key reasons why the Golden State Warriors will win the 2024 NBA Championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first is that Chris Paul is going to have a huge impact on the Golden State Warriors. Now, as you all know, the Golden State Warriors traded for Chris Paul in exchange for Jordan Poole, and this turned a lot of NBA media due to the fact that they feel like it's not going to work. But I actually do think otherwise. Chris Paul is going to be a fantastic addition to this team, as he is going to be able to provide experience and also bring structure to that second unit. Now, there has been a bit of quarrel between whether Chris Paul will start off the bench or whether he is starting. He has made it known that he does want to start. However, I do believe at the end of the day, Chris Paul will probably be the great sixth man, and I do think that role fits perfectly for what he is capable of doing. CP3 stands at 6 foot, 175 pounds, and is 38 years old. However, last season with the Phoenix Suns, he had a fantastic season because he averaged 13.9 points, also had 4.3 rebounds and 8.9 assists. So he did fantastic on all facets, but on top of that, where I think it is most impressive is due to the fact that Chris Paul has definitely seen a huge increase in his three-point percentage. He was actually shooting last season 38% from the three, which was fantastic, with the season before that him only averaging 31. So he's definitely increased that, and as you all know, Golden State Warriors live by the three-point line, so having Chris Paul who can now shoot threes at a very consistent basis is definitely going to help this team even further. Draymond Green also had a few comments to say about Chris Paul joining the Warriors, and where he does believe CP3 is going to be a huge asset is due to the structure that he is going to add to this team. As you all know, the Warriors tend to run a free flow type basketball, getting Stephen Curry open, getting Klay Thompson open over a couple of screens, but now having someone like CP3 who can bring that structure into this team, it honestly makes them even better and more versatile on offense, and I think that's something that is super important. The Warriors do have great defenders in Wiggins, Gary Payton II, Draymond, the list really does go on, but where I saw them really struggle last season is due to the fact that their offense at times could just be too heavily focused on Stephen Curry. And Chris Paul, as Draymond Green says, is going to open that up to more players, give more players more opportunities, and it's also going to add CP3 scoring to this already great scoring Warriors team. The second is that Stephen Curry is going to have himself an MVP season. Now, I think this has surprised a lot of people, but Stephen Curry, 6'2", 185 pounds, and is 35 years old, have a lot of people thinking that maybe he is on his decline, but in the most recent season, he definitely showed that he's still at the top of his game. Now, with the most recent season, he was actually averaging 29.4 points, also grabbing 6.1 rebounds, and also had 6.3 assists. Now, to put this in perspective, this was actually his highest rebounding season, and on top of that, this was also his 4th highest assist season, and around 3rd when it came to points this season. So he was honestly hitting his numbers that he was hitting, back in his prime years of 2015 and 2016 Steph Curry, and I do believe Curry only gets better as he is aging, like fine wine. If we look at his three-point percentage, it hasn't slowed down any bit, as he's been averaging 43% from the three, which is great to see, and also attempting 11.4 threes as well. On top of that, his effective field goal percentage is one of the highest, actually ranking 2nd at 62%. So he did a fantastic job all throughout last season, and I think he will only get better this upcoming season. Steph Curry is coming back this next season with a new supporting cast and a couple of players returning for a full season. As you all know, Andrew Wiggins was out for half of the season, and I do believe that did play a huge impact. I think now that he is back completely, it is going to help them out completely, and on top of that, you have new players such as Chris Paul, Dario Saric, and all these other guys that are now joining this team. So I do believe they all will play a huge facet when it comes to supporting Stephen Curry and being able to get him ball and be able to score and do it at a very high efficiency rate. And I do believe when it comes to Steph, although he did average a great total rebounds of 6.1, which was fantastic this season, I do believe that he will probably see that drop due to the fact that the Warriors have signed some great rebounders in this team coming up. So when it comes to all these different things, I do believe Steph can come into 2024 focusing on scoring and doing what he does best and shooting those threes. So I do believe it will play a huge facet and a huge success story in the future. The third is that Dario Saric is going to provide a lot of scoring off the bench. Now, I think this is something that is super important, but when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, what they definitely were missing out in the 2023 season was a scoring big man. They had Kevon Looney, who only averaged below 10 10 points. They also had Draymond Green, who averaged below 10 points, and JaMychal Green, who didn't really have enough game time and also averaged, guys, guess what, below 10 points. So when it came to all the big men that they did have in that roster, one thing that they were definitely missing was a scoring big man. And I think this is something that is so important for this Warriors team moving forward. If we look at Dario Saric, he stands at 6'10", 225 pounds. He's actually now the tallest player in a Warriors uniform. And on top of this, he's only 29 years of age. So he's heading into those peak years, but he also has great experience at that. Now, he most recently did play for Oklahoma City Thunder and the Phoenix Suns. Now, during his OKC stint, he was actually averaging 7.4 points, 3.3 rebounds, and also 0.9 assists. But you do have to realize, guys, that he was doing this in only 12 minutes of game time. So that is honestly very, very efficient from someone like Dario Saric, and I do believe he will be capable of doing something similar like that when it came to playing with the Warriors. If we look at his calculations per 36 minutes, so if he was getting a lot more minutes, he would have been projected to average 19.4 points, which is a huge increase. So I do believe if Dario Saric is given the right amount of minutes in this Warriors team, he can really provide that scoring that the Golden State Warriors desperately need, especially from that second unit. Now, if we also look at his three-point percentage, that is something every Warriors fan wants to look at. He was averaging 40% from the three, which was fantastic, and an effective field goal percentage of 61%. So Saric can definitely score and give you a bucket whenever he needs to, and I think that is something that Saric was one of the reasons why they signed him for, and why he's going to be so important and play a huge role in this Golden State Warriors team. The fourth is having Andrew Wiggins return and play a full season. Now, I think this is something that is so important because Andrew Wiggins has been a fantastic player for the Golden State Warriors, and it was sad to see him miss half of the season due to some personal reasons. Now, I do respect that, and I hope he is okay and the rest of his family's okay, but it honestly was a huge blow for the Warriors to miss him throughout half of that season, as he did come into the playoffs not really completely prepared and not really back to his full self. However, last season he still did a fantastic job, averaging 17.1 points, also averaging 3.1 assists, and also 5 rebounds. So he did a fantastic job all season while still also shooting 39% from the three. So he did remain very consistent throughout the season, and I think he did a fantastic job. But now that he is going to be back completely and play the full of the 2024 NBA season, I think he is going to be a huge asset, and we could see another all-star year for someone like Andrew Wiggins. He's 6'7", 197 pounds, and still only 28 years old, and a lot of people do forget that he's still very young and he is just starting to come into his peak years when it comes to playing in the NBA and also having that veteran experience. So I think Wiggins is going to be something special. He is a great two-way player for the Golden State Warriors due to the fact that Klay Thompson, ever since his injuries, hasn't really been the same when it comes to defensively. So I do believe having Wiggins back in the roster, being able to defend those guys such as LeBron's, the Giannis's in this game, I do believe he will be able to do a fantastic job due to his great athleticism and strength, and now with his scoring ability, it honestly makes him so dangerous, and a lot of teams are very, very worried. So the fact that Andrew Wiggins is now back, I think is going to play a huge plus for this Warriors team, and it's definitely going to help them win another NBA championship next season. The fifth is the two great rookie signings in Brandon Ponziemski and also Trayce Jackson-Davis. Now, as you all know, the Golden State Warriors had themselves a great draft day, and have also signed two great rookies that I think are going to play a huge asset to this team very, very soon. Now, if we first look at Trayce Jackson-Davis, 6'9", 245 pounds, and is only 23 years old, he has done a fantastic job, and he actually did a great job, especially when he played for Indiana in college, where he was actually averaging 20 points and also 10 rebounds. So he's a fantastic player, and I think he's able to provide a lot for this team. We definitely saw what he's capable of doing, especially in the summer league, and I do believe he will be able to translate that into the NBA. What I do believe is so important when it comes to someone like Trayce Jackson-Davis is due to the fact that he probably won't get a lot of minutes. If he continues to learn, continues to be very vigilant at learning from players such as Steph, Klay, and also others such as Chris Paul, I think he can definitely learn a thing or two when it comes to developing his game as the years go by. So I do believe Trayce Jackson-Davis has a lot of potential to really be something special. Now, looking at Brandon Ponziemski, he's also a fantastic guard who's 6'5", 205 pounds, and is 20 years old. He played for Santa Clara, and he was averaging 19.9 points and 8.8 rebounds. Great player, a great guard at that, and I think, if given the right amount of minutes, he will be able to be something special very, very soon. Now, although we may only see them get around 5 to 10 minutes per game, I think they can still provide a lot for this team, especially when it comes to playoff time and also championship time as well. well. So this is something that they definitely need to take into consideration. Yes, they are still young, but if they continue to learn from the great players that they have in the team, Steph, Draymond, Clay, and also Chris Paul, I think they can be something special very, very quickly. We did see great players come from Golden State Warriors. Gary Payton II was able to become something great. Also other players like Moses Moody and even Jonathan Kuminga, although they are looking to trade him. I think all of them have become great players due to the fact that they did remain under the system and listen to the older guys, all those veterans, and listen to what they had to say. So Trayce Jackson-Davis and Brandon Pomdziemski are definitely going to provide a lot from this team, even from a rookie standpoint.